Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have studied about the law of demand, right? Have you remember about this? So just we will remain about the law of demand, and we will go to the next concept today also. The law of demand. So already we have studied the law of demand is stated by the Augustine Cournot in 1838. After that, it is refined and elaborated by the Alfred Marshall. Okay. So next the definitions. So the law of demand state people will buy more at lower prices and buy less at higher prices. Other things remain the same. So we will study about the other things. Okay. So next the assumption. So for understanding this law, we must taking this assumption. So the 5 or 6 assumptions are there. First one is the income of the consumer remain constant. Okay. So normally the peoples are getting the income. So that income is must be constant as remaining. Next, the taste, habit, preference of the consumers remaining constant. Okay. So the taste and habit of the consumer and some of the preference to consuming the commodities is must be remaining the same. Next, the price of other related goods. Other related goods mean, for example, the price for the tea and the price for the coffee. Okay. So the price for other related goods should not be changed. So this also must be changed or equal to that goods. Next, there is no substitute goods for the period of time. Next, the demand for commodity must be continuous. Okay, so the demand for commodities must be continuous in future also. Okay, so when the time of price of commodities increasing, so the demand should not be decreased. The demand is always existing in this market. So next, should not be change in quality of goods. Okay, in which quality the commodity is produced and come to the market, so on the same quality only the product has to be produced. Okay, so we must take these 5 circumstances as a assumptions. Under these assumptions only, so the law of demand will be applied. Okay, next, demand schedule. Okay, by seeing this schedule we can easily understanding about the law of demand, how the price and the quantity demand is changing, on in which basis the price of the commodities or the quantity of demanded is going on. Okay, or what is the difference are there between the price and demand. So just to see here in the schedule, so when the price of one commodity is 5, so the quantity demand of the people is 1 unit. Okay, for example, we can take as a apple. Okay, when the price of one apple is 5, we will get 1 kilo. Okay, so when the price of the apple is reduced from 5 to 4, so we will increasing the amount of apple just 2 kilos. Okay, so whenever so the price of the apple is decreased continuously, so our quantity demanded of the commodity is will be increased, right? So what do you understand between these two aspects? So there is a inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. When the price is decreasing and the quantity demand is increasing. Okay, but for the and the controversy, suppose just if we are going to the descending order, when the price is of apple is 1, so we will consuming 5 unit of commodities. Okay, when the price of the apple is increased 4 to as 2 rupees from 1 rupee, we will decreasing the amount from 5 to 4. Okay, whenever the price of the commodity is increasing, so our quantity demand also will be decreased. Okay, so on the basis of increasing the price for one commodity only will be depending upon, will be considering the determining the quantity demanded of commodity. Okay, so there is a inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. Next, by the diagram also we can understand. Okay, so the demand curve is there, so the demand curve is should not be changed, so only the demand curve is slowing downwards. Okay, so here just you see, when the price of commodity is 5 rupees, so our quantity demanded will be as 1 unit. Okay, so next we are next the price of our the commodity is reducing from 5 to 4, so our quantity demanded will be increasing from 1 unit to 2 unit. Okay, so whenever the price of the commodity is decreasing, our quantity demand also will be changed. Okay, so the demand is always same only, on the basis of the price only it will be changed. Okay, so on the basis of on the tendency of the price for that commodity only, so the quantity demanded also will be changed. Okay students, then today we will go to the next concept. The next concept is determinants of demand. Determinants of demand. So some of the factors are there to determining the demand. So what are the factors are there? Means first one is changes in taste and fashion. So normally the taste and the fashions of the consumers always will be changed on the basis of the civilization and the invention and the innovations of the society. Okay, so normally the fashion is always changed on the basis of in course of time. So already I told, so once upon a time, so the our culture, on the basis of our culture only, so the humans are wearing their dresses. So the males are normally wearing the dhotis and shirt. So after that, after in course of time, so the peoples were changed from dhotis to jeans band because the fashion was changed. Okay, so on the basis of changing the fashion, so the demand for that commodities also may be changed. Now the demand for the dhotis is very declined, and the demand for the jeans pant and modern dresses are increased. Okay, so on the basis of the fashions and the taste also will be changed. Taste means so the preference. Okay, normally before 5 years itself, so we were using the normal mobile phone. Okay, but after arrival of the Android mobile, so all the peoples, even the students and the old age people also using the mobile phone, Android mobile phone. Okay, because so many of the features are there within the same mobile phone itself. So all the peoples also will be selected the new arrival to the market. Okay, so on the basis of the changes in taste and fashions, the demand for that commodity will be raised and it will be increased. Okay, next the changes in weather. How weather conditions will be creating the demand. Normally on the basis of weather conditions, some of the demand for some of the goods will be create or it will be changed. So normally in the rainy seasons, the demand for the umbrella will be very higher, and in the rainy seasons also the raincoat also, the demand for the raincoats also will be very increased. So like that the hot summertime, some of the cotton, the demand for the demand for the cotton clothes and the cool drinks also will be increased. Okay, so on the basis of changes in the weather, our human activity, our human taste and human preference also will be changed so as to solving the weather conditions. Okay, next taxation and subsidy. Suppose if the government are imposing the new types of taxation, or if they are increasing the taxation amount for the existing tax, the tax will be the paid tax amount will be included in the goods produced of commodity produced by the producers. Okay, and not only that, if they are when they are paying the more tax, so they will be increasing the price for that commodities. Okay, So otherwise, if there is no chance to increasing the price for that commodities, he will be reducing the supply for that commodities. Okay, so when there is less supply in the market, automatically the demand will be increased. Okay, so like that, the subsidy, the government also will be introduced the new subsidy for the agricultural peoples and some of the entrepreneurs. So when they are giving the subsidies to the production unit, the entrepreneur can able to produce the more commodity within the low price. Okay, so when they are producing any of the commodities with low price, so automatically, so the price will be reduced. Okay, when the price is reduced, what will happen? So automatically the demand for that commodities will be increased. Next, changes in expectations. The expectations also will be create the demand or more demand, because suppose some of the peoples are expecting in our future the price for that one commodity is going to increase, mean they will ready to purchasing that commodities, otherwise or so they will be increasing the purchasing of commodities in this present itself. Okay, because if they are predicting to so by the way of predictions, so he will understand to increasing the price for that commodities. Okay, so as a speculative motive, they will purchasing more commodities. Okay, so when they are purchasing more commodities, automatically the demand for that commodities will be increased, right? For example, in the time of the Diwali or the Christmas festival, so the price of the cloth will be increased. Okay, this is the normal one. Okay, but some of the people will ready to purchasing the cloth before the festival time itself. Okay, so in the even the before the festival time also, the price for that commodity may be increased, otherwise the demand for that commodities may be raised. Okay, so on the way of the expectations. Okay, so if the peoples are expecting the price is going to increase in futures, they will purchasing more in present itself. So because of that, the demand for the commodity will be create. Next is changes in savings. So savings, the changes in savings also creating the high demand. Normally the peoples will have the low or the normal purchasing power when they are having the normal savings. Okay, but in course of time, if their income is going to increase, their savings amount also will be increased. Okay, so on the basis of savings, their consumption level also will be increased. Okay, so like that, if all the peoples, the income for or the savings for the all the peoples in our society is increased, their purchasing power also will be increased considerably. Okay, so automatically their purchasing power also will be increased on the way of savings. Okay, so because of that, the demand for that commodities will be increased. Normally when your savings are just 1,000 rupees, you will take one set of dress per month or per year. Okay, but your saving is increased from 1,000 rupees to 2,000 rupees, you will purchase the two more dress. Okay, so like that, so the demand for the dress will be increased. So the changes in savings of the people also will be creating the demand for any commodity. Next is state of trade activity. So trade activity means, so we have studied the trade cycle, the basis of trade cycle. So in our nations are being in the period of boom and prosperity, the demand for all commodity will be increased. Okay, because in the time of boom or prosperity, so the employment level will be in higher and the purchasing power of the people will be higher, and the standard of living of the people also may be very higher, and all the employed also will be in full employment situations. All the peoples are having the job opportunity, their savings, their income also may be very higher. Okay, in these situations, every peoples also will be having in more need or more demand. Okay, so when the time of the period of boom situations, so the demand for the any of commodity will be very higher. And the controversy in the basis of depressions, so there is a unemployment problem, so the economic activities also will be very down. The peoples will be in as unemployment situations and they will be fell down in the poverty. Then when they are being like so, so automatically the demand for the commodities will be decrease because they are unable to, they will be unable to purchasing more commodity. Okay, so the state of trade activities also will be influenced to creating the demand. Next, advertisement. In advanced capitalistic countries, advertising is a powerful instrument increasing the demand in the market. Nowadays, so more demand for any of the commodity is going to create by only the way of advertisement. If there is no advertisement, so most of the people does not know about the features and the price and all the details of the commodities. Okay, and we will be unknowingly to some of the things. Okay, so by the way of advertisement only, so every peoples are going to know about all the details of the commodities. And not only that, the advertisement also will be induced the peoples to purchasing the commodities. And the different type of the commodities also will come to the market. And whenever the new arrival of the commodities coming to the market, so the producers will make the different type of the advertisement to induce the consumer to purchasing that commodities. Okay, so the advertisement also will creating the desirers to purchasing the commodities. Okay, so the demand for that commodities also will be increasing by the way of advertisement. Next, changes in income. So as I told already, whenever our income is going to increase on the basis of increasing the income level, so we will be consuming more. So normally your income is just 1000 rupees. You will consuming, you will allot some of the amount to consuming some of the commodities. Okay, so your income is increased, your consumption level also will be increased. Okay, so on the basis of increasing income, so your consumption level will be increased. So on the basis of increasing the consumption level, the demand for any of the commodities may be created. Okay, so the changes in income of the people also will be the reason to increasing the demand for one commodity. Next, changes in population. The demand for goods depends on the size of populations. An increase in population tends to increase the demand for goods, and a decrease in population tends to decrease the demand for other things remain constant. Okay, so normally the production of commodity is measuring on the basis of increasing the populations. So whenever the population is going to increase, the producers also will be in the need of producing the more commodity. Okay, or otherwise, even if the producers are not having the interest, not having the due to increasing the supply of commodities, so we will be in the need of the producing any of commodity. Okay, so on the basis of increasing the population level, the food problem or the shortage of food problem or the shortage of consuming commodities will be created. Okay, for to fulfill the satisfactions of the consumers, so the producers also have to increasing the supply of commodities. Okay, so automatically the demand for that commodity will be created whenever the population is increasing. Okay, so the changes in populations also will be create the demand for that commodity. Okay, so the how many factors are there? 9 factor. First, changes in taste and fashions. Okay, so whenever the fashion is going to or fashion is coming to the market on the basis of the fashions, so the demand will be created. Next, weather conditions. Okay, for example is raincoat and tea or coffee and cool drinks. Okay, so when the time of rainy seasons, so the demand for that umbrella and the raincoat will be increased. Next, taxation and subsidy. If the government introduced the new type of the taxation, so the price for that commodity will be increased, and because of that the demand will be created. Next, changes in expectations. Suppose if the peoples are expecting that the price of the commodity is going to increase in futures, they will increasing the consumption in this present itself. Next is changes in savings. So on the basis of increasing the savings amount, so the people will be having the more purchasing power. So because of that, the demand will be created. Next is state of trade activity. The boom level, so the demand for that commodities may be higher, and in the present time, so the demand for that commodity will be very low. Next, advertisement. So the advertisement also will be induced to the consumer to consuming the different type of the commodity. Okay, so the advertisement also will be influenced the demand. Next, changes in income. So whenever the income of the people is increasing, so the people also will get the interest to spending more amount or increasing their consumption level. So when their consumption level is increased, automatically the demand for that commodities may be raised. Next, changes in populations. Okay, so on the basis of the populations only, so every producers or the nations will be producing the commodities. Okay, suddenly if the population is increased, so we must increasing the supply of commodities. Otherwise, the demand for that commodity will be created. Okay, so the 9 factors also will be determining the demand. Okay, this 9 of the factor is changed, so the demand also will be changed. Okay, student. Next is the exception to the law of demand. So we have studied in the law of demand, when the price is increased, the demand for that commodity will be decreased. When the price is decreased, the demand for that commodity is going to increase. Okay, this is the law of demand. Okay, but in the law of demand, some of the exceptions are there. Okay, exceptions mean, so even if the price is increased, so the demand for that commodity is also increased along with the increasing the price level. So whenever the price is decreased, so the quantity demand is also will be decreased along with the decreasing price level. Okay, so normally on the basis of the law of demand, the price is increased, the quantity demand is decreased. Okay, this is the law of demand. But some of the exceptions are there. If the price is increased, so the demand also will be increased. If the price is decreased, so the quantity demand of the commodities also will be decreased. Okay, so some of the exceptions case are there. So normally the demand curve slopes downward from left to right. Okay, normally the demand curve is normally the demand curve is sloping downwards from left to right, because whenever the price is increased, the demand will be decreased. Okay, so only the demand curve will be sloping downwards from left to right. So on the basis of law of demand, but on the basis of some of the exceptions, the demand curve will be moving upwards from left to right. Okay, on the basis of the exception to the law of demand, the demand curve will be increasing upwards from left to right. So we can understand why the demand curve is moving upward. For what reasons are there? A fall in price brings about a contraction of demand, and a rise in price results in a extension of demand. So therefore the demand curve slope upwards from left to right. It is known as exceptional demand curve. Okay, so on the controversy of the law of demand, the price and the quantity also will be changing as equally. Okay, so the tendency of price of the commodity and the quantity of change in the quantity of demand also will be changed same wise. Okay, this is the law of the exception of law of demand. Okay, just see, normally when the price is decreased, the quantity demanded must be decreased. Okay, but in the exception to the law of demand, first when the price is P1, the Q1 amount commodity consumed by the consumers. So when the price is increased, so the quantity amount also increased. Okay, so normally on the basis of law of demand, if the price is increased, the quantity amount has to be decreased. But on the basis of the exception to the law of demand, whenever the price is increased, the quantity amount also will be increased. So whenever the price is increased, the P2, P3, P4, P5, the quantity of demand also will be increased on the basis of increasing the changes of price level. Okay. Okay. So you can ask, on what reasons the exception of law is erased? So some of the reasons are there to erasing the exception to the law of demand. First one is Giffen paradox. So the given good or inferior good is an exception to the law of demand. When the price of an inferior good falls, the poor will buy less and vice versa. Some of the contradiction situations will be there. So the economist Giffen only finding out this exception. So some of the contradictions on the basis of or in the name of the contradiction, this type of the exception will be appear in the law of demand. Okay, so normally the poor people will consuming the more inferior goods. Inferior goods means so the very cheap level goods. So normally very poverty people, those who all fell into the poverty, so these people will have the power to purchasing only to fulfill their basic necessities. Okay, so normally if they are not able to consuming the rice to cook, they will purchasing the what, so ragi and some of the low priced food items only. Okay, but if the price of the commodity is decreased more than existing, so the people, the poverty people always will be increasing that commodity. Okay, so whenever the price is decreased, so on the basis of decreasing the price level, so the poverty people will consuming more on the inferiority goods. Okay, so the price of that inferior goods is reduced on the basis of reducing the inferior goods. So the poverty people also will consuming the less amount. So whenever the price for that inferior good is going to increase, so they will also increasing that price for that commodities on the basis of the human behavior. Okay, by the way of the exposing effect. Okay students, so tomorrow we will study the reasons of exception of law. So today is enough. So today we have studied the determinants of demand. So just to take this as your study portion also. Okay, just 9 points are there. It is very easy. Just study. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Tomorrow we will go to the next concept. Thank you.